Jennifer Stellings. I'm Professor of Design at George Brown College. I teach Design 2, and Hats for Humanity is one of the projects in the Design 2 course. It combines social conscience and design. It originated the year of the tsunami disaster. It was originally just a project to teach three-dimensional design and folding, but after the tsunami disaster, we felt we couldn't go on just doing a little exercise. So that year, the students did hats based on the images, of which there were plenty from the tsunami disaster. And they made hats, which they sold the hats as well as images of them, and we raised $1,100 donated to the tsunami relief to UNICEF. The following year, we started working with pen writers in residence and have been doing that for about 4 years now. We've worked with writers from Eritrea, Afghanistan, Macedonia, and this year with Zdenka from the former Yugoslavia. And the writers come in and speak to the class about their experiences, and the students make hats based on aspects of their presentation. So we've worked with concepts such as exile, freedom of speech, living with war, and the students get free rein to design the hats as they want them to, and they have to fulfill some design aspects like folding and concept development and obviously design, but the interpretation of the writer's presentation is up to the student. There was two things. One was the connection with Zdenka in terms of her personal stories about dealing with family that was now still in the former Yugoslavia and how she'd have to communicate via internet. A number of students came up with that. They seemed also fascinated with the number of places that she had been from her route from Yugoslavia to Canada finally. And I think a number of students this year in my class at any rate were really interested in the whole idea of the media as a whole and how it censors, even if it's not a dictatorship countries, how the media, and I think that came across, the media actually shapes the kind of news that we hear. This is actually one of my favorite projects to do because it combines two areas of my life that are important to me, one of which is obviously design, because I continue to work as a designer and think as a designer, and the other is the social conscience aspect, because I've always been involved in some way with either volunteering or doing some work that can benefit others. And I try to train the young designers to actually think in terms of using design to try to create the world rather than just have the world create their designs, to have it so that design is actually more proactive in shaping the world around us. George Brown College has been really supportive of this project right from the beginning when we were making hats for tsunami relief. Many of the people bought hats or pictures and helped that along pretty well from every department in the college, so they were helping out there. And then the support through the college has continued with of course, supporting PEN Canada and have the writers in residence. I've been encouraged and introduced to the writers and included in all aspect of the writer in residence program to help facilitate the contact between the writers and the design classes.
My name is Adam Hilborn. I am a professor of Design 2 at George Brown. I teach 2 sections of the course, so I've had the pleasure to have the company of Zdenka for the 2 classes in the afternoon. I had 30 some odd students in each class, so 60 some odd projects, I would suppose, of the Hats for Humanity project, which was based off of Zdenka's trials and tribulations, her life story, and the project had all the 30 students from each class interpreting their own vision of what Zdenka went through, and some of them quite realistically, and some of them a little bit more interpretive, and some of them quite personally, actually. I did have one student who was from Sri Lanka who found similarities between her project, her life and incorporated that into her project. Parallel lines between Zdenka's story and her own, and came up with a really interesting project. I thought it was a very inspirational project. Coming from a family, my father was a minister and also worked for the IRB for 4 years. I've grown up around a lot of refugees and heard a lot of stories that make my own life feel quite privileged. So to have a project like this, with such a deep inspiration, a lot of content to work with, I think it was great for me to be a part of the process and directing the students in it. And I think the students had a really great time exploring what their own thoughts on it. And I think for the most part, everybody got into it and came up with really great projects.
My name is Alain Parisot. I teach Design 2. The students this term did a project called Hats for Humanity, and they were instructed to create a hat based on folding paper and different techniques of scoring and such. To create a hat basically inspired by Zdenka's life story. And for me, it was really interesting to see how the students took their own personal story and their own personal views on life and connected with Zdenka's story. I thought it was pretty great.
Hello, my name is Justin Chateauvier, and I am a student at George Brown College. And for this project, we had to do a hat in regards of humanity, and it is for Zdenka Acin. And my hat, I decided to do a tank that resembles war that's happening around the world. And this little plane that's directing itself to the bullseye is the departure of Zdenka's life, going to another country, Canada, where she found her country of Zen. This is the black book which Zdenka was talking about. When she was in her country, the mafia got involved in her political situation. So I decided to design a little black book with her name checked. So that was like kind of a warning. And we also see a lot of the flower coming out of AK-47s and a lot of designs against peace. So I decided to construct a little garden of flowers coming out of the tank. So instead of it being filled with artillery, it's filled with beauty. And that's my piece.
My name is Aras, and it's my hat. So it represents like it's a black jet, it's a war, and the dove, it's white, it represents peace, and it's like dove protect the city and the human on top from the bombing, and that's a simple explanation, I guess.
My name's Akbar. This sort of symbolizes like the past and where you came from, and some like a war-torn area, and then the hands are supposed to like being like a welcoming hands like into Canada. They were welcoming you and caring for you.
My name is Natalia. Well, actually I read your article and I read about your feelings. That's why I put like this one red person inside. So he's kind of like in a cage and he can't do anything. And this person right here on the side is you here in Canada, and you have your freedom, but you don't have like the firm ground under your feet yet.
My name's Melissa. The thought that a person who speaks out against authority gets swept under the rug and gets sent away, and sort of once you close the door on the hat it becomes very simple, but then inside there's the complexities of protest and censorship and a person inside that's covered up and they're held together.
My name's Jeff. Towards the end of your presentation, I asked you how you had been able to translate your skills that you had had in your home country now that you had become a citizen in Canada, and you said that in many ways it was a cultural difference. It inhibited you in some way, and so I'm looking at these shapes as people growing up in this specific culture, and then everybody else assumes a different shape coming from a different culture. If this shape were to try to fit in with this culture, it would not have the same conical shape, and so it would no longer fall quite as perfectly into the holes designed within the society. So it's kind of the taking a bit of time in which to acclimatize yourself with a new society and to be able to really find your feet and be able to fit in.
I'm Catherine. More when you're talking about censorship and how it affected your career and was inhibiting your career. The shark is the censorship, of course, and then the little boat is the free speech being attacked by the censorship shark.
Ricardo. I did the hat because of the trauma between the two countries. It's like a road between your life, the life that you had to endure between two different lives, but you're still going around because you still want to go back to that country and to those cultures that you have one.
My name is Pavel Spravnikov. Well, my idea was basically the suppression of ideas and how communists took everything and kind of wiped it out into this whole propaganda thing. So here I have news articles, and they're actually in Russian if you look at them. So like the font is similar and everything.
My name is Ravish, and this is my hat, and there's a lot of symbolism in it. So the one that you can see, the hand, it stands for humanity. And there's a Chinese character on the hand, which actually is a symbol for justice. And you can see on my right is a pigeon, and there's a bombing, so it says no war, and it also says the pigeon stands for peace. On coming to the other side, I'm talking about injustice that takes place. So you see that scale of justice. One is leaning on one side, and the other is a bit towards the top. It shows it displays injustice, and on the very end is there is the torch for there's a march for global human rights. So I actually combined all those together to demonstrate my message for global peace, justice, liberation, and equality. Because like you said in one of your lectures, you mentioned about totalitarian regimes and oppression in some of the regions, especially in the Middle East and stuff. So I actually thought of creating an art.
I'm Tim. It's my hat. I was inspired to make this hat based on the story at the end when you told us about how you used to play with your grandchildren through the webcam. You're playing dominoes. So basically, it's this would be like Exile. This would be it right here, and then that would be like your computer screen, and that's all you get. And I made the rationale to go with it. It's like a little diploma kind of thing. It's got like a little quote in there and everything.
My name is Joseph. It's actually part of where you're escaping your country from like chaos, because like war is about to break in, and then you just want to flee from chaos and find peace.
My name is Michael. Part what you said, that news corporations lied about the story and didn't tell the full part about it.
Hi, my name's Wendy. This is my hat. I basically tried to make each tab be a different emotion that you felt by what you went through, and by flipping it down and looking through it, you're seeing through your eyes or your perspective, and each thing represents a different emotion. Generally, when you're talking about how you felt about different things that happened to you, and this one is like being trapped, that you can't go back to where you came from. This one is a sunset, or sunrise, which is like the hope for like a new day and like a fresh start. And the flowers. This is apparently a poisonous flower, so it represents like the death in your life.
I'm Dixon. Your whole lecture is pretty inspiring, honestly. It's like about leaving your country and getting banned from it was kind of interesting. Well, not for you, like interesting in my eyes. And then so I decided to make it kind of like representing like you were trapped and then freedom.
I'm Ariel. I wanted to show like the war between all the countries. That's why I have the bomb on top to symbolize that. Canada, I put that in there because you said it felt like home. And all those countries around like the area you were born. So I just wanted to try to put in as many of those countries in there. And then I have a person on top to symbolize hope.
My name is Letitia. You can call me. My Chinese name is Dongqing. You say you leave your motherland and you feel very sad, and but Canada people is accepting you. So I cut the small heart and like the lucky plants here. It means hope you will be the lucky person.
Patrick, it's pretty much censorship on the media.
I'm Sarah, and this is my hat. What I did is I made chains, and when it goes around your head, it symbolizes the struggle you did to think freely. And then the veil is to portray how your views were obstructed from the world, and how everyone wanted you to think and see it a certain way. Your struggle to be able to speak freely and make your own opinions in the world.
My name is Tara. Just you telling us about how you brought your son here to Canada. You can see there's people inside and that represents you and your son that you brought to Canada. And it's like your freedom has been taken away from you, and that's why you're locked up in here.
Christina, when you said that you felt like you were dropped out of the sky, so I did like the country, Yugoslavia, and this would represent someone feeling like they're dropped out, and then the people at the top here are like the country reaching for that person, and they're kind of behind like a fence, which is also happens to be the country.
My name is Winter. Part of the lecture where you're saying that when you worked at the TV production, you had to deal with a lot of censorship. It was like a bar across the eyes with censorship.
I'm Edvin. The part where your show got canceled because of your free thought. So this would be your free thought. There's a censorship. So the censorship goes over your mouth.
I'm Faiza. Which inspired me was the freedom of speech part. So I tried to focus on freedom of speech.
Michael, you were saying a few quotes when you were talking. You said one that said desiring to love. So I made the hand to symbolize you and your son's love, the relationship between the bigger hand and the smaller hand, and you're trying to reach for a heart.
Basically, after the talk with you, I basically got the idea of sort of having war as a negative outcome, and sort of you see usually how like wars usually help certain countries, but I sort of see it as it sort of destroys other countries while trying to help others. So this is sort of just war's aftermath.
John Luca. This is my hat from your lecture. I kind of got saved you. In the back here, I kind of showed like a really abstract silhouette of you and your family coming together. It like looks like a superhero hat.
Kale. It just shows that even through the darkest moments, there's hope.
Jennifer. My hat's a cultural hat. It's a Slovenian flag with the symbols on top.
Stephanie. I tried to make mine look like an army helmet to represent when your country got invaded, and then I guess the barbed wire would represent like jail and how you felt trapped in your own country, and then I decided to use newspaper to represent you as a journalist. Then I used some of the keywords that you used in your lecture, and I just sort of painted them around it. Peace and a new life and hope and a journey, and then the family.
My name's Darren. I made something kind of brief that I just wanted to make a bit of a statement. I kept it all one color, so it just has a shadow look, because I have people that are all silhouetted with barbed wire around, so it's kind of just showing how you can be separated from different people can be separated from everything through like bad circumstance. It's kind of a combination of your lecture and just some people that I know. During the whole like Serbia thing that was going on, I have some friends whose families immigrated up here, so they left because of war, and I have some friends out in the Canadian Army that went there to go do some peacekeeping. And everything that you said kind of ties in with what they said, and it just seems like a lot of people keep getting left behind or have something that affected them like greatly from it.
Yeah, Ron? Talking about leaving the country and stuff, and I was thinking of America and that. So in the past, when people came over from other countries looking for freedom, you know, from whatever oppression and stuff like that. Basically, my ideas were that kind of the spikes from the Statue of Liberty. To explain kind of that side for me is the oppression and stuff. And then the flames are more like the freedom from, like, I'm thinking Olympics and stuff. Just all the things it represents.
My name is Christian. The oppressions and the situation that's going on in the world, where basically this is the world right here. I just thought that people should give a hand and just like, you know, help out the world with all the situation that's going on. So these are the hands. They're just like holding the world together.
Lindsay, when you were talking about leaving the country and that your one son kind of got stuck there, and it kind of made me think about, you know, like the elements of things that are movable and the unmovable. So I was just thinking about, like, for you, you were like being pushed. And I was thinking about how he was kind of solid in there, kind of like the earth versus the air moving by.
My name is Brittany. The hat represents a struggle to get out of a bad situation. The figure on the hat is crawling up the opposite side of the staircase, showing that it's having a hard time, which is obviously a lot difficult than going up this side.
My name's Samantha, and I did mine. Mine's actually personal because my parents are from Sri Lanka. So there's a war going on between the minority group, the Tamils, against the majority Sinhalese. So I did it as if the mother, like she's trying to break ways so she can free her children because they don't want to be there. And I chose the colors. It's really dark because they're victims. So that's why I chose the color as well.
My name is Brenda. Mine is based on doves. Even, you know how like they try so hard to pass way when they have problems? So this dove is actually trying to get past all the trouble that's coming across the world and stuff.
My name is Caitlin Falcon. This is my hat. I use the rope to represent being tied down all the time and the struggle and the chaosity of all of it, of a life, and the broken pieces of wood represent pieces of life that have to be put together.
My name is Andrew Lawson. This is my hat. It's representing censorship. It's kind of like a prison because in your story you said that they exiled you for your position in the media, so they censored you. So this is representing the censorship that they put on you.
My name is Gabby, and this hat is supposed to be like a black veil that you wear to a funeral, and it's supposed to represent like the losses that you faced when you were exiled from your country.
I'm Larissa, and this is a hat I made to represent how you traveled from country to country and you kind of traveled with like a one-way ticket. It's like boarded up windows here, and then it just kind of, the flags go up showing how much better I got along the way, and you know, welcoming, going to Canada, and that's pretty much about it.
name is Julie, and this hat represents the steps you took in your life. So it's kind of like a board game where you go around and sometimes you can't go there. Like it represents your exile or censorship. And at the top is the flag of Canada because that's where you are now.
Hi, my name's Alexis. My hat, I have two hands here like this, and they're chained up, which represents pain and suffering. I also did tattoos on the hands, which represents suffering. The butterfly is a symbol of freedom, and that's my hat.
My name is Philip. My hat is a sailorboat that's made out of newspapers. The idea is the boat represents the idea of travel, and all the newspapers represent the idea of journalism because you were a journalist. So I try to combine those two ideas to make a hat. Also, I try to take newspapers from different countries, different languages, so it kind of shows your idea of the different places you travel to.
Ivan, the whole concept behind this is about fighting with words instead of fighting with your fists. So then I have kind of like an abstract fist created here with scrumbled newspaper. You talking about how that sometimes word can be like dangerous and it can be a weapon. So that was the whole idea behind this.
Lisa. I wanted to focus less on the negative things that you talked about with exile and more on the positive. So I did wings to represent freedom that you found in your new life and kind of taking flight into that new life. And I did them with a little bit of gold to show that you kind of found a new wealth in your new life.
I'm Charlotte. It's about freedom of speech. So, like the mouth is like a little bit decorative. It's like, it's not only to decorate. We have to speak up for what we're really thinking of. And the cage is just like some some restricts. The mouth is breaking through it. I remember that you saying nothing can stop a journalist to like speak up or something. Yeah, so I was originally think of like journalists are supposed to be like speak what they think of.
Flower. It represents as you know, being what do you call this? Mother, a TV personnel. It represents like see the flowers like blooming. So it's like you basically. You've been to a lot of sufferings and pain and these problems, and now you look at you, you're free and you're blooming too.
My name is Brian Melissa, and this is my hat. Like it's a bird with a book on the top. This will be like your book. The bird is like symbolizes you.
I'm Lisa, and this is my hat. This symbolizes Zdenka. My theme was stranger, because when you came to Canada, it was like you felt kind of strange. These are people who are already in Canada, so these 3 cylinders belong to this, and you try to fit into Canada.
My name is Michelle, and this is my hat, and it's supposed to be a safe, which is like where you keep all your personal belongings, trying to keep them safe. And it's actually a metaphor for your house because it's supposed to be a place where you feel, comfort, but instead you kind of felt trapped, which is why there's like the silhouette.
is Bushai. This bird, it represents peace and it represents you, that you are the messenger of peace. And this book represents that you are a writer and you are spreading peace and knowledge. And this is a sun, so it's like the light of peace and knowledge is spreading all over the world. This knife, it shows the war and like difficult time that you went through. So it's like peace is sitting on the knife. So it's like peace is in danger. And this feather with blood, it shows the struggle and all the hard work that you went through.
I'm Jeff. It represent exile. The eyes represent like blind, and the mouth represents silence. These represent being exiled, I think, and danger.
My name's Ada. My head is the path towards hope. So the circle and spiral shape stands for the circle of life, and the up down on the path towards the hope. And the feather here stands for the freedom and the hope in the future.
My name is Adrian. That I made basically a compilation of different types of feelings, and basically it's supposed to represent a hard hat to basically represent safety, and it's supposed to be a floodlight to represent searching for hope, and the wings are supposed to be the reason getting to the hope that you find. So your story basically inspired me to put the different ideas into the hat, which basically created it.
My name is Stacey Dell. Yeah, I actually decided to use the dove's wings to the hat, just to represent your journeys in your life, I guess, and what you're going through, and just all your hope that you've had for your son and all your stories.
Alvin. This is supposed to be resembles all the places you've been to, but my apologies, I kind of forgot all the places you actually been to. I just marked down the ones I could remember, and it's supposed to resemble like a plain trail.
My name's Ryan, and this is the hat I made. It's supposed to be like a suitcase to show all the places you travel to, and there's a map with a trailer.
Charlie, an iPod. I didn't have enough room in my pockets, and I figured during your journeys you needed room to hold things.
Jordan, they hold no answers. Guns, they don't solve any problems. It was when you were talking about things like the way that the government treated you and how you feel for your life and how your friend got killed. So I always thought about stuff that I know from my life and how people always seem to use guns to resolve issues.
My name is Greg, and I also was inspired by your speech about how you were kind of captive to this regime that you didn't like, and you're like the peaceful dove, and you're kind of caged here, as you can see, restricted from everything around you until you finally had the opportunity and broke through your cage, and you get to fly away.
Nadia, I missed your lecture, but I did look up about your story online, and it was very inspiring. Like the traveling and remaining strong within yourself and not giving up. Your journey, so like I have the map there, and it goes around on the back, like the continent, and like identity with the handprint, and then map for your journey.
Carmela. I also missed your lecture, but I was reading up upon it. I just like how you, although you went through everything, you kind of took what you learned. And this just represents exile, because I know that was one of the main things that people were talking about. So just a person is kind of going through a lot, and the hands represent all the problems.
My name's Morgan, and what I did is I actually went on one of your websites and got
you had some poetry and like a story, so I printed that out, and then this is a bullet hole, so it represents your choice of life or death or your writing.
I'm Russell Hawley. It's focusing on the isolation felt maybe in traveling to a place you're not familiar with. Just want to make it pretty cold and kind of closed in and dangerous. How you felt alone when you said no one would call you, or when you came to Canada and you didn't know anyone here very well.
My name is Colin Brand. My hat is to feel censored.
Brittany, bro. It's supposed to represent the city. You were talking about the oppression with the barbed wire around the city and just the bombings.
Kane. Right here, I figured kind of played in with the whole trying to escape country, and they're trying to keep you in. It's not sort of like a whack-a-mole game. It's the fight to keep going, you know? When everything was kind of piled up against you, you stayed strong, kept your head up, and kept going.
I'm Scott. This is just basically the worldly travels.
Real metal.
So I just did it sort of in the direction towards Canada because of coming to Toronto.
My name's Jackie Bird, and I did mine kind of with like the map and the idea of all like the travel papers and tickets and like all the stuff that has to like be involved with traveling all over the place.
Hugo Fernandez. I just used the barbed wire because it represents oppression, and I have the cranes flying over just to symbolize freedom. You're the yellow crane there. It's supposed to flap, hopefully it does.
Hi, my name is Jen Masters. I'm a student, graphic design student from George Brown College, and this is my hat for Zdenka Acin for Hats for Humanity. The way I did it is it's different levels, and it represents all the stages of her life. The bottom being level and stable, the green represents the stability in with nature, really just more the stability part of her life, how she built up her life and had her career, her family, everything. And then the next level is when the bombing started, and that's represented by the holes and the darkness that started to encompass Zdenka's life. As you can see, it's very minimal, but there is a slight unevenness to the second level. That's to make it uneven, to represent instability. And then the next level is when she moved to Canada. When you came to Canada, having lost a lot of what you had worked for in your life, and you started over, and you had gone through so many changes, and that you stood up for people and for basically human rights, and you know, despite what you had to go through, you suffered through the hardships and embraced your new life and started over again.
I'm Ben Kelso, and this is my project for Hats for Humanity based on the lectures of Zdenka Acin. And the inspiration for it came from her lectures. There wasn't a specific moment in the lecture that inspired me, but more just the lecture as a whole. And what it ended up being was a headband, and it's supposed to be, because headbands are used to absorb, like when you're working out and stuff, but this has like blood spots and stuff like that based on all of the different troubles and hardships that you've been through in your life. It's also supposed to be the strings of a marionette being cut, so you're free from that control of that dictator in Yugoslavia, and that's my rationale.
I'm Oliver Gaskin, and this hat I made, it's a little small because it's supposed to be for a child. And under each of these flaps, on this side, there's a symbol, peace, love, and then the whole world. And then on the other side, it's just the words, so peace, love, and earth. And I don't know, I just kind of decided it was cool kind of to have like the general shape of it, and then these things are kind of hidden because they're on your mind, and I chose to make like a child's hat because, I don't know, kids are pretty cool and they are pretty caring about things.
My name is Angela, and I made this hat because it represents freedom, and the bird represents peace. That's why I chose to make it white. Your struggle to like get a better future for you and your son.
So my name's Kim Lobo, and my hat, I made a baseball hat, and it has a picture of a woman whose mouth is taped on the front, and then it says "Speak the Truth." It has to do with Zdenka's story because she was talking about how people didn't want her to write her story when she was in her country, but she did anyway. And this hat is supposed to be motivational to not be quiet about certain things if you have to speak about it to make the world a better place. And that's what she did, so that's what my hat is about, and it's motivating people to speak the truth if it's for the good.
Alright, hello, my name is Mark Payne. I'm very thankful to have partaken in this project, the Circle of, or the Hats for Humanity. My hat, I designed a crown of friendship, and it's inspired by the ancient statue from the Mayans, and it just symbolizes peace and happiness and getting along with everybody, and it's very, very raw and peaceful, and it's very organic, and it's just beautiful, and to put that on a hat just makes it cool. Well, I'm very thankful Zdenka was able to come in and speak to us and tell us her story, and that's what initially sparked me to do this.
My name's Steve Priestman. I am in Alain Parizeau's Design 2 class. I made a hat for Zdenka. It was a red, it was like a New Era kind of style cap. I'm a big fan of New Era hats. Right now my hair is too big, so I can't wear it, but my hat looked kind of a little something like, it was like this, right? And then there was like a bleeding heart, along with a compartment of blood that was filling up. Right? So this was kind of my hat here, in case you remember. And basically the idea was that I wanted to create something fashionable that you could wear normally, but the logo would represent kind of like someone's heart breaking from leaving their home country. So between people that recognize the symbol would have meaning, but for other people it would just be something fashionable.
Hi, my name is Jason Yurchuk, and I'm just talking about my rationale for the Hats for Humanity. The story in which we were told was by Zdenka, of course, but I did a hat that basically was a baseball cap, like the one I'm wearing now, but without 5 panels, more like baseball style. And throughout the story there's a lot of traveling, of course, back and forth, and then eventually into Canada. But I just wanted to emphasize the whole coming to Canada, because obviously I'm Canadian. But so I basically I used a similar idea from the Indiana Jones movies. When he's traveling through the world, basically it always shows the plane with a red line showing plotting the points from which he went or is coming from. So I used that. I used just a basic airliner outline silhouette for the plane on the line, but I took an outline cutout of the former shape of Yugoslavia as it was together at one time, and used it as the line leaving from the country and rotating around the cap, so it went on a diagonal, kind of giving it some graphical effects. But at the end of the line it comes to the side where there's a background maple leaf and the outline of Toronto, kind of just emphasizing the safe landing, being away from all the war. And basically I wanted to just keep it basic style, like as if like someone like my age or younger as a kid would like look at it and be like, oh cool, obviously you'd have to understand what it represents first, but as if you'd wear it outside. The story was very interesting, I must say. I don't know what else to say to that because I don't know anyone that's been through anything near that close. And you know, I mean, knowing stuff about that, you know, changes my life because basically, you know, I hear this from first point of view, and you know, it's hard to believe sometimes. But yeah, that was my project, and thank you very much.
I'm Zdenka Acin. I'm a lecturer in residence at George Brown College. I was appointed as a lecturer in residence, as a writer in exile, and as a member of PEN Canada. When I wrote my statement of purpose as a lecturer in residence, I stressed that my main goal was not only to work on my book in progress, but to get the hats from the students of design as a part of Professor Jennifer Stelling's project Hats for Humanity, since that title symbolized everything I stood, stand, and will stand for as a fierce advocate for equality and freedom of all human beings. My main aim in my lectures was to pass on my enthusiasm, passion, experience, and skills to like-minded lovers of truth, knowledge, freedom, and humanity. I open my mind, heart, and soul to the students of design, and in return, I got their heart, mind, and soul through these hats. These hats are bear witnesses of our fruitful collaboration. This was the story of my life in their hats.